Welcome, magical souls, to another journey through the lunar gateways. In this episode, Babula and I are stepping into the velvet dark mystery of the new moon in Scorpio, a cosmic moment that feels like slipping beneath the surface of a still midnight lake. This Scorpio new moon isn't just a reset, it's a secret invitation, an invitation to shed old skins, decode our dreams, flirt with the unknown, and follow our intuition into places our logical mind would never dare to wander. Nothing shallow survives a Scorpio moon. So, over the next 4 weeks, the astrological landscape becomes a kind of enchanted corridor. As the moon waxes and wanes, you might feel pulled into an emotionally alchemical state. So expect synchronicities and deja vu moments and revelations that arrive like whispers from a hidden realm. So join Babula and I as we wander through the mystical shadows and dance with the shift of signs and seasons and follow the energetic breadcrumbs all the way to the next new moon. So let's begin.
Wonderful. What a great introduction. Whoa.
So
So,
how is it going, Babula? How are you? First of all, let me just ask you, how are you surviving the effects of the grand water trine since we last spoke? Any undertows sucked you under or got caught in any
yes,
grips?
absolutely. Yeah, life has been, I live in a very water-oriented household, and it's not only water, but it's predominantly water. And yes, it's been very much of the water world. It's been intense. There's been crises, lots of emotions moving, and it's just been a very strong time. But I often find this occurs at this time of year anyway, because we are in the Scorpio month, as the sun's
Mm.
going through Scorpio in this, late October through a big chunk of November. It's like this deep portal that we all go through of, real transformation. And we use the word transformation so easily and lightly, but what it requires is, a stripping bare and,
Mm.
a real plunge, fall, dive, into a much deeper place. And so all sorts of things emerge from that. Deep, deep, still waters are stirred up, and they're really stirred up on this full moon, new moon, sorry.
Yeah, and there's so many planets involved too, aren't there?
So many planets involved in this new moon. It's really a very potent, strong, complex new moon.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's sort of like it's asking us to surrender, if I can say it that way.
Yeah,
Surrender to the process,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah.
Whew.
Absolutely. And in the nature of Scorpio, there can be moments when it feels like it's life and death, on the edge. And that can be literal in some cases. It's
Yeah.
quite common that at this time of year, a lot of souls do depart because we're in Scorpio territory. And
Mm.
or there might be issues arising that can feel like death or a dying or an ending or a closure, purging, so we use, well, I do anyway, it just happens, quite strong language when we're talking about Scorpio, because as you said, nothing superficial survives. When we're in Scorpio territory, and it's
Yeah.
true, we are pulled into the depth, and there's no getting away from that. And it's really important, the way Scorpio sits in the zodiac between Libra, where everything is, the intention is everything to be beautiful and harmonious and calm and equal. Then there's this plunge into the deep, dark waters of Scorpio, where a great deal of purification and transformation takes place, and death and dying takes place,
Yes.
and a confrontation with the shadows,
Yeah. Mm.
And
My cousin has just come through a lung transplant, both lungs.
wow,
So you sort of, I didn't know, I knew she was on the list. She's always on and off, on and off, on and off for various reasons. But, and she called me Saturday. She had it on we're recording this on the Wednesday, the 19th. just before the new moon, and she called me just Saturday gone and said, "Oh, I've had the surgery." What? Were you kidding me? Like the shock of it all for a start,
Wow.
and then the relief, and then the happiness, but also now the concern that she's going to be okay as well. So it's
Mm.
like all those emotions all at once, and processing. And it took me a whole 24 hours to process the news because of it had been going on so long, and
Yes.
she would have faced her own mortality issues and all those sorts of things, So
Yeah.
yeah, in the family as well. So
Oh, absolutely. And the ripples, they go out,
mm,
and have an impact in so many ways, on all those around you, and something like that is going on.
mm,
Yeah, so it is a sign of crisis, as anyone with strong Scorpio energy in their own chart will know. But it's crisis where we have no choice but to confront issues that are uncomfortable, difficult, in some cases life-threatening, trauma and so on. So, but it's such an amazing sign. I have the greatest respect for this sign because it's not messing around, and it takes a lot of inner strength to be able to be with, whatever is stirred up in those deep waters.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
I think
yeah,
it's really interesting too that it's a Scorpio new moon, so it's a beginning, but it's a beginning that begins in the dark, you know,
yes.
in the deep dark depths.
The darkest, deepest depths, right?
Yes,
It's bottomless.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's a bit scary, I think sometimes.
Yes,
It's very scary.
yes. Because we're in the shadow realms, and it's like I often get that image of a dark swimming pool, where it's just you look into it, it's black on the bottom, and there could be all sorts of creatures down there. There could be deadly poisonous snakes or spiders,
Mm,
and are you willing to go into that pool when you can't see the bottom?
yes.
You know, or out into a pitch black night if you're out in the country and all the electricity goes out. It happened to me once,
Mm.
and all the power went out in the whole neighborhood, and there was no moon. It was pitch black, and I'd never experienced that before. And my immediate response was terror.
Oh.
My imagination threw up all sorts of scenarios.
Mm.
And after a while, I was able to calm myself down. And I ended up, and this was a very important lesson for me, I ended up loving the blackness.
Ah.
I just
Mm.
surrendered to it. And I just went, well, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do. And I was on my own. And then when the power came back on and the lights came on, I got up and turned them off because I was actually loving just the deep calm and rest of just the darkness. And I
Mm.
felt safe. I was no longer feeling anxious about it. So it's a very interesting process that happens in the sign of Scorpio. And I feel that, when we're going through scorpionic times in our own life or collectively as now, or we're having transits to things in Scorpio in our own chart, we emerge out of that process often with so much more courage, less afraid of those things that might have terrified us before.
Mm. Mm.
So
Yeah.
we,
While you're t
yeah,
while you're talking, I'm thinking about I used to teach meditation classes, and one of the metaphors I used was throwing a pebble into the pond and it breaks the surface and you're going down into the depths and into the quiet and you don't really know what's on the bottom, but you're just going down anyway. And it's a little bit scary, but just it's like you have to go with the flow, you know,
yes,
and that takes courage.
it
Courage,
does.
yeah, to step into that. But on the way down, you become comfortable with it. You actually can befriend it almost, and you realize, well, actually, it's not as scary as I thought it would be. Although I'm still pretty, it's quite precarious, but actually, I'm getting used to this, and I can cope. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's right. And it's that childhood thing of, wanting to keep a lamp on in the bedroom at night because if everything's black, is there something hiding under the bed? So it's all of that stuff that comes up. And I think it's in our collective psyche. It's in our old brain, that those anxieties about the dark, and yet the darkness, and yet there's something in us that longs for darkness because we live in a world that is so lit up now.
Mm,
You
mm,
can't go outside if you live where there's population at all. There's just always lights shining and
mm.
burning, in the
Yes.
street, in houses. There's just light everywhere. And I was thinking about that earlier this morning. We live in a world that increasingly, it has for a long time, but increasingly celebrates the mind and the intellect. And we seem to be going more in that direction. And it's a complete denial of this deeper feminine realm of, and that brings us to the Black Moon part of this, that deep feminine realm of mystery that's very organic and embodied and felt and intuited. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the intellect and the rational mind. And so I think this energy of this new moon can be quite challenging in many ways because we often, myself included, escape up into the mind and into thinking,
Mm,
instead of allowing ourselves to just drop into this deeper, very organic, um, unfathomable realm, of the water.
mm,
Mystery, as you said earlier, deep, deep mystery. But but there's also a place I think where many of us also love the mystery. I like it that there are many things we don't understand.
mm, mm.
Yeah, rationally, logic.
Yeah. I'm getting the image in my mind of the deep sea divers
Yeah.
going down into the trenches, and I look at that and I think, oh my God, I could never go off the shelf and then go down deep like that.
No,
Freak me out.
me too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and the people who go into deep caves,
yeah.
deep underground, that's pretty full on. But see, those people who do that, I'll bet you anything they have Scorpio themes in their chart, because they can do that. I couldn't, and I have Scorpio in me, but that's not something I'd willingly do. I'm more of a deep diver into my own psyche and my own unconscious rather than physically into those kind of spaces. That would be pretty full on.
Mhm.
So shall we have a look at the actual new moon because it's a lot.
Yes, let's dive deep into.
Dive deep. So I'll just hold this up because I feel like I need to point to things and then we can unpack it a bit. So it might be a bit fuzzy, but
That's,
oh, that's nice and clear right now.
yeah.
So there's the new moon at 28 degrees of Scorpio, Sun conjunct moon. Here is Mercury at 28 degrees of Scorpio. So this new moon is very tightly aligned with Mercury, which is retrograde in Scorpio.
Mm,
And look who else is right here. The
mm,
Black Moon Lilith is at 26. So she is part of this story, as is Mercury. They are all, that's a very tight little gathering there. They are all in a very tight opposition to powerful Uranus, which is retrograde at 29 degrees of Taurus. So this new moon has the Black Moon Lilith right on it, Mercury retrograde right on it, opposite Uranus. And also, see, I've highlighted the grand trine, a trine up here to Saturn and Neptune, which are at 25, 29 of Pisces, which trines over here to Jupiter in Cancer, late Cancer, retrograde, Saturn, Neptune retrograde, Mercury's retrograde. That is a lot of water. It's a lot of water. And it's a great reminder of the power and the potency of water, which is of the, we can call it feminine yin energy. Um, so it's very, very potent to have a lunation, a new moon in such a sign as Scorpio, with all these powerful planets, all in such a tight alignment with it, and the Black Moon Lilith. It's very much a Black Moon Lilith new moon in Scorpio. She's been in Scorpio now since late March. She's in a sign for 9 months, and she will exit, I think it's the 20th, 21st of December, at the equinox. Yes, at the at the solstice, at our summer solstice, she will exit Scorpio and go into Sagittarius. So, she's been in Scorpio now for months, and she alone has taken us on a very deep dive into some very deep spaces and issues. And, I see it all the time in my own family, with friends, with clients and students. That, people are going through really deep stuff. And the Black Moon Lilith, of course, is about a reclaiming of the authentic, deep potency and power of the feminine principle,
Mm.
which has really suffered because of the over dominance of the more, and I'm not talking about men and women specifically, but of the masculine inclination to want to go up into the mind,
Mm. Yeah.
and dominate from the mind and the intellect. And she is Black Moon Lilith on this new moon. It's like, no, I'm not having a bar of that. No, 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 no. It's time to experience something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Black Moon Lilith here, particularly with this particular lunation, she's just not going to accept that at all. That wanting to find rational explanations for whatever's occurring in our life at the moment or on the world stage. So this can be very personal in our own interior landscape, personal in the sense of our immediate important relationships with people, family, and so on, but also within the context of the world stage. It's playing out on all those levels. And rational, logical solutions really aren't going to cut it here. We have to go into some deep, deep emotional, psychic, intuitive territory. You use the word intuitive in the introduction, and that's what it's like. Like, what are you actually feeling? What are you sensing? What are we knowing to be true? And that can take us right down into the guts of something, because often we humans have been programmed to be a little bit afraid of getting raw and real, and cutting away the BS and the logical explanations and getting right to the guts of actually what I'm really feeling is this. And this may not be pretty. It may not be
Mm.
very socially acceptable, but it's real and honest, and from there something can begin to shift and move. So
Mm.
this is what we mean. We talk about do the shadow work. Let's get honest about the real truth of what we're really experiencing or dealing with or feeling. Let's get raw and real and honest about it. And that's really important here. And as you said, just trying to keep it on the surface just isn't going to work.
No, definitely not. I'm also
No.
thinking too with Scorpio, like our intuition's going to be heightened as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with Mercury retrograde, I'm wondering, could it be difficult to for our intuition to communicate itself with us to see what is ahead or whatever. What do you think? How do you think Mercury retrograde could sort of get in amongst all that?
Yes, it's another part of the complexity of all of this. Mercury retrograde, people born with that often feel like people don't understand what they're saying, or they're having difficulty communicating, as you were suggesting,
Mm.
what they really mean. But I think this is part of the process I was talking about, to take that Mercury retrograde, because when it's retrograde, it's going back. So
Mm.
having to go back over something that's maybe from the past, or maybe something that came up even a few weeks ago, and suddenly just go, I thought I was through that, and now here it is, it's in my face again. I'm right back in it,
Yeah,
you
or
know.
maybe it was unclear and now you've got some clarity or getting
That's
clarity.
right. I think the big message with Mercury retrograde and Scorpio is just dig deeper.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Keep digging.
yeah, till you find what you're looking for, till you get some clarity, till you
Yep.
um yeah, just dig into your feelings too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Mm,
And, as a new moons are times where there's a kind of a pause. The moon is dark for a couple of days, couple of nights. It is a time to regroup and stop and pause and not rush forward. And
mm.
I think this Mercury retrograde exactly on the new moon, same degree,
Yeah.
is very clear in its message, and with Black Moon Lilith there as well. But see, the other part of it is that then you've got Uranus over here, the great disruptor and the agent of radical change and shock waves and unexpected things that can happen like that. He's over there too, throwing um, lightning bolts
Yeah.
at us. And so, ideally in that Scorpio, you want to stop and sink really deep and just go very deep into what you're experiencing. But then over here, Uranus is stirring up situations or experiences, and suddenly we're kind of pulled out or thrown out of um, that deeper, quiet, contemplative space, maybe because suddenly you're having to deal with something major that's just happened. For example, the other night, it's just occurred to me, um, I was cooking and just something in a fry pan just got a bit smoky. And we've got these new, which I can't stand, these new fire smoke alarms in the house, which were put in. We didn't ask for them. And they're so sensitive. And if one goes off, they all go off and you can't turn them off. And off they went. And my grandson absolutely freaked out. We had to say, there is no fire. There is no fire. He ran outside sobbing, completely freaked. And that's a Uranian moment.
Mm,
Suddenly this has happened. Everything was peaceful and fine, and he went into shock
mm.
and trauma. It was like a trauma response
Goodness.
that that the house is going to burn down. And we was like, darling, there is no fire. There is no fire. It's the frying pan. It's turned off, you know. And he was shaking.
Mm,
So that's a kind of Uranian moment. Suddenly out of nowhere, a crisis comes. And so
mm.
people might be experiencing that around this time, a shock happening. And it felt like the house is going to burn down, we're all going to die, which is so Scorpio,
Yeah. A poor
right?
thing. A
The poor
poor.
thing, I know.
Yeah.
Um,
It must be
yeah, so
very
anyway, he
sensitive.
recovered and we had a big conversation about it afterwards. And I said, if there was ever a fire, we would tell you. There was no fire. But see, that doesn't even fully register in his logical mind. You see, it's a completely deep, automatic trauma response,
Yeah, definitely.
which is what happens with the water signs.
Nana didn't tell me the house was burning.
So we got over that and he was fine afterwards. But yeah, fascinating.
Oh my gosh. And we haven't even covered the shadow side of it all. Obsession, jealousy, suspicion, betrayal, all those things could come up as well.
All that stuff and dark secrets.
Yep, exactly.
The buried secrets is so Scorpio. And I do think this Mercury retrograde opposite Uranus
Mm,
on this new moon with the black moon can very much be in many situations some sudden shocking revelations being exposed that can be quite dark because we're in Scorpio.
yes, yeah.
Shocking dark revelations being revealed and brought to light.
Mm, mm, mm.
um yeah, so watch this space, and that can be in our own life,
Watch this,
right?
watch this atomic explosion.
Watch this atomic explosion,
Oh gosh. Yeah.
right? And like even Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is involved. It's got a sextile to the new moon, which is half a trine, 60-degree separation, but it's in the mix. And Pluto trines 120 degrees to your, like they're all involved. All the outer planets are involved here.
Yeah. I'm thinking too, we've just here where we are, we've just had this not just, it was a week or two ago, but we've just had this terrible storm which, created havoc and 300 trees down in the area, the western part of the city where we live. And it's like it was devastation, destruction. It was whatever was is gone. The trees that had taken 20, 30 years to grow down, like it was just the death of those things. And with Uranus in there, there was this terrible storm, and in the grand water triangle, we had all this hail coming down, and it was just, I lost a windscreen, car windscreen, and it all. It was just like, oh, give us a break.
No,
It's all that scenario, that sort of scenario.
exactly. And those things can happen really suddenly and really quickly. That intensity and drama and destruction, and then it's over again. And all of a sudden it's over, and you just go, what the hell?
Yes, exactly.
In 15 minutes, look what's just happened.
Yes, yeah, amazing.
It is amazing. And the incredible amount of water, like Venus, Black Moon, Lilith, Sun, Moon, Mercury, all in Scorpio, North Node, Saturn, Neptune in Pisces, and Jupiter in Cancer. When I see charts like this that are really strong in whatever way they are, I often think to myself, babies are being born at the moment with this in their birth charts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're going to come in with that energy. Um, So, like a few hours, about 4 hours after the exact new moon, which by the way is at 4:47 p.m. Thursday, tomorrow, the 20th,
Mm-hmm.
Brisbane time. So, by around 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm,
That's the exact moment. So we're in the day before, we're in the dark phase of the moon right now. We're in a dark moon in Scorpio
mm.
right now as the moon continues to make her way through Scorpio. Um, but of course, on the 22nd, the sun will emerge out of the watery depths where, yeah, we do need to talk a bit more about the dark side of Scorpio. Some people think Scorpio is only dark,
Mm,
and it is about the dark,
mm.
but there is a really negative side to that too. But the sun will exit Scorpio and go to Sagittarius on the 22nd. But you're right about, I know. And every year I go, oh, I made it out.
Yeah.
But of course, there's still the Black Moon is still there, Venus is still there. Um, but yeah, that side, every sign has a dark side or a shadow side, but in Scorpio, it can be really dark. It can be really horrendous.
Mm,
It's where abuse, the abominations of domination and control, the dark shadow side of sexuality, secrets, lies, all of that sort of thing. So it can get very uncomfortable, very challenging. Like a trauma response, like my grandson, and sometimes I've noticed Scorpio people can very quickly assume the worst. Some small thing will happen and they'll assume the worst because there can be that tendency to just instantly always assume that it's going to be really dark and dreadful.
So there's sort of catastrophizing going on.
Yeah, there can absolutely be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank
yeah.
God that the sun moves into Sagittarius. And even though that happens, like it doesn't erase all the stuff that's been going on in Scorpio, but it integrates it, doesn't it? It sort of there's some light. You suddenly go, oh, there's some light, and that's really nice. And then whatever all this other stuff, sort of what's going on around us, then comes within us, and we start to integrate it all.
That's right.
Mm.
And I'm always fascinated that Scorpio comes before Sagittarius because
Yes.
it's as though for us to reach and expand and explore to the great heights and expansive field of Scorpio and the knowledge of Sagittarius, like we have to go through this deep, dark purging process
Mm.
first.
Mm.
And I always feel that the deeper we're able to go in Scorpio, then the higher we can go in Sagittarius. That arrow, it can go higher and higher because we've gone deep.
Yeah, and I think that the transformation that occurs in Scorpio acts as rocket fuel for the
Yeah.
Sagittarius season, like boom. I like it. I love it actually because I am a Sagittarius.
You are a Sag, of course, you love it. But it's like suddenly like it feels like can even feel it in your body. Suddenly there's this, oh, that feels better.
Yeah.
Suddenly everything just feels more open and positive and uplifting and positive and inspiring, we see the possibilities. So, but first we've got to go through this. And so Mercury's not finished, Mercury's going to continue. Mercury won't be direct
Mm.
until the 30th. So it'll be direct on the 30th of November at 20, but it doesn't exit Scorpio until the 12th of December. So we've still got a way to go with that, and Venus is still in Scorpio, but the
Mm.
sun will leave.
Yes, and Sagittarius season swoops in like a cosmic firebird.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yes, yes. Um, yes, amazing. Okay, so what else have we got? On the 27th of November, there is a beautiful trine between Venus
Mhm.
at 24 degrees of Scorpio and Jupiter at 24 of Cancer.
Mm.
Now, a Venus Jupiter trine like this, which will occur a couple of times a year in different signs, this time it's in water. My mind just goes buy a lotto ticket because, Venus and Jupiter traditionally are known as the benefics, meaning we ascribe generally a very positive energy to them. Venus, the goddess of love, of beauty, of sharing, of the heart, of money and luxury and all of those things. And Jupiter, the planet of abundance and good fortune and expansion and opportunity. So it just can be a really I think in water, this can be a very soothing, healing energy over those few days,
What,
around the
can
27th.
you repeat those dates for those of us who didn't write it down the first time?
Okay, so on the 27th, there'll be a conjunction of Venus and Jupiter.
Mhm.
So I would say even the couple of days before and the couple of days after,
Yep, yep.
you've got that trine between the two benefics in water. I'd be looking to even maybe create space, in your diary around that time to just breathe a little bit after the
Mm.
intensity, the relentless intensity of, all that's gone before with
Yeah.
the Scorpio sun and the new moon and so on. And maybe to just do something that just feels really nice, take a bit of time out to recover. I think we're living in such intense time where things are moving at such breakneck speed. We don't seem to be getting a lot of time to integrate and recover,
Mm. Mm.
because the world is in such a state of intense crisis and it's on every front. It's not just about one issue.
Mm. Yeah.
It's a lot for us all to be with and understand and process, and it's challenging.
Mm.
So I think celestial opportunities like this, a Venus Jupiter trine, we need to kind of use it and make the most of it and just do something. Take the day off and go bushwalking or whatever, or
Mm.
go to the sea, it's in water signs, whatever feels nourishing that will nourish your heart and soul, during those couple of days would be
Mm.
very beneficial.
Yeah, sounds like good advice, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's nice to make the most of those sorts of celestial alignments. Um,
The whole point of it, isn't it? Is to be aware of these things
yeah,
and work with it.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. The following day on the 28th, Saturn
Mhm.
will turn direct. So that means that over this next week or so, Saturn is really slowing right down and coming to an apparent standstill.
Mm.
He can just be stationary. Well, he's there He's there now at 25 degrees, and he's not moving off that degree for a few weeks because it's going to turn direct again. And that will also feel really helpful. Remember, the sun by now is in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Your lovely Venus Jupiter trine. Saturn will turn direct, and that will usually feel over those days. And as he starts to pick up a bit of forward momentum, like, oh, the heaviness, the weightiness of that Saturn retrograde will feel like it's starting to lift. Things will start to feel a little bit less heavy and difficult,
I think
starts
that
to move forward.
that Saturn, it'll create some sort of usable structure for us that can anchor the lessons of the last months for
Yeah,
us too.
yeah,
Yeah, I think,
that's right. My daughter, we had a pretty intense few days here, and she burst out the other night. She's a bit exhausted, and she just said, "I hate lessons. I hate them." And I laugh because I totally get it. But it was great that she voiced that, that she acknowledges that she's really learning a great deal and going through a lot and being challenged and tested every day. But she's just kind of calling out for a bit of a break.
yeah, I think we all have times like that, don't you?
We do, we do. So Saturn is the great teacher,
Mm-hmm.
the tough teacher. But then on the 30th, 2 days later, Mercury turns direct as well. So those last few days, literally the last few days of November will feel easier.
Yes, yeah.
They really will, with the Jupiter, Venus trine, Saturn and Mercury both turning direct.
Yeah. And it's a time that'll sort of help us speak more clearly too,
Yeah,
say what we mean,
that's right.
those sorts of things. Yeah, and the fog will lift, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, all this is a prelude to the big shifts that are coming up in January and February as
Yeah.
well.
Mm.
So I think Scorpio time, and particularly this year, with this particular new moon this year, is a time of purging and clearing out and confronting, some pretty deep shadowy stuff, because it's part of the preparation of what's to come in 2026, where we'll be in quite new territory. So
Mm.
we are clearing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then the 1st of December starts beautifully with Venus and moves into Sagittarius. So and Mars is already in Sag. The Sun goes into Sag on the 22nd of November and Venus on the 1st of December. So Venus is a very happy girl in Sagittarius.
Yes. Lifts the
She
spirit.
loves, she lifts the spirit. She loves to party. She really, the heart energy is expansive and open and more uplifting and
Mm.
ready for adventure and fun and exploration and travel and so on.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. And then the full moon in this cycle is on the 5th, and it's got quite a different vibe to the new moon, because the full moon will be at 13 degrees of Gemini opposite the sun at 13 degrees of Sagittarius.
Uh-huh.
Um, and in our culture, that's the whole pre-Christmas period, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
People want to get ready for Christmas. They might be socializing more, getting together with friends, making plans to travel or to get together with people,
Mm.
have a bit of fun.
Yeah, a lot of socializing. It's already
Yeah,
started for me.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um, so all that will be, really kicking in. On the 6th, there's a Mercury trine to Jupiter. And then on the 12th of December, Mercury will also enter Sagittarius.
Mm.
So one by one, they will emerge out of the depths, out of the basement, out of the bottom of the cauldron.
Yes. In
You know,
preparation for 2026, I might add.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely is. On the 14th, Mars will be at 29 degrees of Sag. So Mars is coming to the end of his 6th week. journey through Sagittarius on the 14th, and he'll be at 29, making a square to Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting combination.
Mm.
And with planets at the last degree of a sign, it's got a certain intensity about, okay, this is my last opportunity to do whatever it is I was meant to be doing while I was going through that particular sign. Yeah, and there's lots of different ways we can look at the square to Neptune. But I think for spiritually, it could be a very heightened time. It's from Sagittarius to Pisces,
Mm.
two signs that can align us very much with our spiritual perception, the way we understand life spiritually,
Mm.
and how we move through life from that more spiritual perspective and knowing.
I'm just thinking about it, processing it.
Mm,
Yes, how it might play itself out. So
mm,
Mars at 29 degrees Sag squaring Neptune. So you've got a
yeah,
fire sign squaring
a
um,
water sign.
water. Yes. Well, it could be a little bit of steam.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And one thing that can happen when Mars squares Neptune in any sign
Yeah.
at any time on anyone's chart is that, Mars, the ruler of Aries, that warrior masculine energy that just wants to go from A to B in a straight line.
Yeah.
Um, Squaring Neptune, it can be a loss of energy, a loss of direction, like where was I going? Or,
Definitely.
planning a trip and then something happens and it falls over, or there's a delay, or something might happen. But the message of Neptune is always just surrender, go with the flow, allow it to unfold, because maybe something else needs to happen here, because
Mm.
Mars wants to assert its will naturally.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm just thinking that, Mars is zipping along. I think of Mars, I know it doesn't always act like this, but I think of it as a linear energy, just like back and
Very,
forth.
yeah.
Um, but when it squares that wall of water, it's like, oof. Suddenly it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's like, it's diffused. All that energy I had is just suddenly gone splat,
Yes,
and
exactly. What happened to it?
yes,
That's right.
yeah, exactly. Well,
That's
I
right.
must have that in my diary. Too much socializing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's right. It could be, and for some, it might be the after effects of alcohol, because Mars and Sage wants to party and party hard, right?
Exactly.
And just keep going.
Yeah.
Square to Neptune is, yeah, not such a good idea. Just wipe yourself out.
Oh my goodness. People are funny. We are a funny.
We are a funny breed.
Yes.
And then on the 22nd, oh, sorry, on the 20, oh no, beg your pardon, going back. On the 15th, Mars then enters Capricorn in the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
around 5:30 in the afternoon. So Mars gets his final chance to kind of go hard in Sagittarius, go forth and adventure. And then it's time to sober up
Yeah.
in Capricorn, right? So after anything that goes through Sag, sooner or later it's going to hit Capricorn.
Mm.
And now the fun and games and adventure. And it's not that Sag is only about fun and games, but that's one part of it. And now it's time to sober up, get focused, get organized. And then on the 22nd, of course, the sun goes into Capricorn. So it's interesting that, after the Sagittarius, there's this Capricorn energy that comes in, and we begin to seriously consider and plan and want to think about, okay, well, then what happens after all the Christmas festivities and so on. But just before that, of course, on the 20th is the new moon at 28 degrees of Sag.
Yeah.
And it will be square Saturn and Neptune in Pisces
Mm-hmm.
on the 20th of December.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite an eventful month as we, make our way through to the end of 2025, the year of the snake and the number 9 year of great shedding and releasing. Before we emerge into 26, the number 1 year, the year of the horse, I believe,
Okay.
kind of gallop forward into something really quite new.
Yes, and there's going to be a lot of new energy in
A
January.
lot.
Yeah, with all that Aquarian, everything in
Yeah.
Aquarius. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Very,
In
very,
fact, I'm running a Zoom on December the 3rd, covering all the movements of the planets in 2026.
okay. So if people want to attend that, they find your website or
Yes, website, Facebook, Babula, Clement, they'll find me there. Yeah.
what's the name of your website?
It's just Babula Clement,
Oh,
my
okay.
name.
Oh,
Mm, mm,
good. Oh,
yeah.
well, there you go. Wow. And then we'll find out everything that's going to happen next year.
Yeah, interesting times. Big watershed.
Yes.
Well, this whole decade is just planet Earth. I don't think has ever seen anything quite like this decade.
It's been interesting, that's for sure. Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. And intriguing and baffling and disillusioning at times,
Very, yeah.
and then hopeful at other times. So yeah,
Yep.
weird.
Yep. Oh, weird.
It's weird. Well, thank you, Babula. That's a lot to think about as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, life in general, isn't it? So everyone, if you've made it this far, please, and if you enjoyed it, this episode, please remember to like it, share it if you feel so inclined, and Babula and I will be back again in another month for the next new moon and the lunar cycle. So as we explore another a landscape, planetary landscape, shifting sands, I should say. Yes.
Yeah, it's very shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be back just before Christmas.
Yes, we will be just before
Yes,
Christmas.
just a few days before
Yeah.
Christmas. So everyone take care. Enjoy yourselves through the social silly season, as they call it. And I will be. And we will see you again real soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.